Okay guys, so in this video we're going to be talking about a couple of things. We're going to be talking about simplifying an algebraic expression. We're going to talk about adding and subtracting algebraic expressions, as well as multiplying and dividing algebraic expressions. So we got three things in this video. So the first one is adding and subtracting, simplifying an algebraic expression. So if we have something like 3x plus 2y minus 7x plus 9y. We use the properties of operations. So what we're going to do is we group like terms and then we add like terms. That's our first step. So if we're going to group like terms, we have to see what we have that are like. In this case, we have 3x and a minus 7x. That are my like terms. I also have plus 2y and plus 9y. These are my like terms. So if I group these together, I'm now able to add them because they have the same variable and the same exponent. So if we look at this first one, if I have 3x minus 7x, 3x minus 7, or 3 minus 7, will give me 4x. These are now complete. And if I were to go and add 2y plus 9y, I end up with 11y. So the first thing that we did here was group like terms and the second thing we did once they were grouped is we added them. This is it. This is all we need to do. This is what is important for us for simplifying an algebraic expression. Now what if we want to add and subtract an algebraic expression? Okay, so we've talked about this a little bit. So we're going to look at addition and subtraction. So what we need to do is let's start off with a problem. So let's say we have 2x plus 5. And we have plus 4x minus 6. So if we look at this problem, right off the bat, I can't add inside my brackets because these guys don't have the same variable or exponent, and neither do these guys. So I remove my brackets, so I'm left with 2x plus 5 plus 4x minus 6. So now we do what we did before. We basically group like terms, okay, which we can do if we want, or we can even just go from here. If I have 2x plus 4x, 2x and 4x, I end up with 6x. And if I have 5 minus 6, I end up with negative 1. This is the addition and subtraction of an algebraic expression. Well, this is addition. Subtraction would be, if I had the problem 5x minus 4 minus 2x minus 9, I would do the exact same. I applied the distributive property, which we've looked at in multiplication and division, which is my 5x minus 4 stays the same. It's still 5x minus 4. But my negative gets applied to what's inside the brackets, both my monomial and my constant. So I have negative 2x and negative 9 being affected. So this negative and a positive, because there's an divisible positive here, this becomes minus or negative 2x. And this negative symbol affects my minus or negative 9, and this becomes plus 9. And then again, I go through my like terms. So 5x minus 2x will give me, yeah, you guys get it, 3x. And negative 4 plus 9 will give me positive 5. This is my addition and subtraction of an algebraic expression. This right here that we did is called the distributive property, which we saw before. Now, for the last one that we're going to do, multiplying and dividing an algebraic expression, okay, we have to look at, take one for example. So let's say we have 3 and 2a plus b. So 3 times, if there's no symbol, if a constant is right up against the bracket, it means multiplication. 3 times 2a plus 5b. Now right off the bat, if we look inside my brackets, these two cannot be added because they don't have the same variable and they don't have the same exponent. But what we do here is we apply the distributive property of multiplication. So what's on the outside of the brackets affects what's on the inside. So we end up multiplying the 3 and by the 2a and the 5 and the 3 by the 5b, the same way we moved the negative symbol when we were adding and subtracting. So now we end up with 3 times 2a. We're multiplying our constant by our coefficient, and we end up with 6a. And then again, we multiply the 3 by the 5b, and we end up with 50b. And then that's it. That's all we can do. So even if we were to do another one, another multiplication, where let's say we had the number 5 times 4x plus 6. Now again, we can't add these two together because they don't have the same variable or exponent. So we apply the distributive property, which means we multiply both numbers in the brackets. 5 times 4x will give me 20x, plus 5 times 6 will give me 30. This is as much as I can do for my multiplying these algebraic expressions. Now when we're dividing, if we were to have, so division's a little different, if we have 12m plus 20n, and we don't know what these variables are, divided by 4, we still apply the distributive property, except instead of multiplying, we're now dividing. So we're dividing 4 by 20n and 4 by 12m. Well, 4 divided by 12 will give me 3m, and 4 divided by 20, or 20 divided by 4 will give me 5n. And that's it. That's how we end up dividing. Now, some of you guys are going to be having a bit of a hard time, but it really is just practice. That's all this ends up being. It's not something that's incredibly difficult, it's just something you have to work on. So even if we have something like, let's see, something with fractions. Well, we'll do one more division and then fractions. So if we have 3a plus 6b, 3a plus 6b divided by 3. Actually, let's just make it 3a. So we'll do the same thing. So now we have a variable and we have just a constant. We again apply the distributive property to both of these. 3 divided by 3a will give us a, and 6 divided by 3 will give us 2. That's it. Now if we're looking at fractions, where let's say we have 3 over 4 times 5 over 6a plus 2 over 3b. Well, we end up doing the same thing that we did before. We apply the distributive property, and we know how to multiply, so I end up going 3 times 5 and 3 times 2. 3 times 5 is 15, 3 times 2 is 10, and we do the same thing, because we're still working with fractions, 4 and 6, 4 and 3. 4 times 6 is 24, and 4 times 3 is 12. So now I have these numbers, but they can both be reduced, right? Oh, this isn't 10. I made a mistake, guys. Sorry. 3 times 2 is 6. Mr. Elkin was living in a very strange world for a minute there. So now we have 15 over 24a and 6 over 12b, which we can't add because, again, they don't have the same variable. So what we do is we see if we can reduce. Well, I can divide both of these by 3 and both of these numbers by 6, and I end up with 5 over 8a plus 1 over 2b. This is how the distributive property works. This is what we need to do for simplifying algebraic expressions, adding and subtracting algebraic expressions, as well as multiplying and dividing algebraic expressions while working with fractions. So I hope this video was helpful and helps you guys better understand what we've been doing in class. And that's pretty much it. Take care. Hope this helps out.